The next stage of the air handling unit is where we actually have to use some form of mechanical heating or cooling. Obviously that's more expensive than turning a thermal wheel, which is why what our controls will do is they'll have a kind of hierarchy system. The control will always be based on saving the most energy. So the first thing we're always going to do is say, right, can we recover some heat? Great, if we can, we'll do that first. Before we have to pay to heat up water mechanically, by heating up a boiler or something like that, we'll be doing that first. So the next stage, once we've done that, we might find that we only recover 4 degrees or something, right? What this temperature sensor is doing is it's measuring the value that comes out in order to maintain what's called a set point. So what we're going to do on our control system when the guys go and commission them is they're going to say, right, we want our supply air to be 22 degrees. They'll set that up on the screen. What the control panel then does is it controls all these components in order to make that happen. So the first thing it'll do is it'll put the thermal wheel on. Maybe that'll get the air from, 14 degrees to 18 degrees, right? That means you've still got 3-4 degrees to heat up. Well, in that case, when this temperature sensor reads, right, I'm not hot enough as I need to be to reach set point, that's going to start turning on one of these coils. Typically, for a unit like this, where it's doing supply and exhaust, you'd have 3 sensors. You have one here, which is measuring the outside air temperature. Okay. It might not actually be outside, but it may be on this duct, which is connected to the outdoors, basically. Mm-hmm. So you're measuring the outdoor temperature, the supply air temperature, what you're supplying into the room, and the exhaust temperature, what's coming out of here. If we were doing temperature and humidity though, we wouldn't have 2 sensors, we would have one, which has temperature and humidity built in. But yeah, if you're doing control to humidity, so you could have an air handling unit with a humidifier in there that has the ability to humidify the air, so to add moisture to the air. You might replace those sensors for temperature and humidity sensors. Mm-hmm. And then again, you'd have 3, 1, 2, 3, temperature and humidity doing the same calculations. But yeah, you could have a variety of sensors here. So I was going to get to that in a bit, but I guess the idea is that the way the air handling unit is controlled is based on what the client needs. So you could have a hospital, right? In a hospital theatre, you need a very particular pressure in the room. It needs to be really clean, and you're dealing with open heart surgery and things like that. What you need to have in the room is a positive pressure, which means that the air in the space is pushing outward, if you like. It's highly pressurized, so that if the surgeon opens the door during a surgery, the air is pushed out rather than bacteria coming in. So that's a type of system called like a pressurized system where we use a pressure sensor to control the fans. The fans will be speeding up and slowing down based on pressure. So that's one type of control we'll do.